Welcome to another episode of This Woman Works. My name is Mike Patton, and on this episode, we're going to be creatively speaking. And my guest on this episode definitely is someone that is very, very creative, very, I would say, poetic, for lack of words. But that'd be Miss Aneisha Wright. How are you doing?
Hi, I am awesome today. Thank you for asking. I feel great.
Good to hear. Good to hear. We're going to get everyone to get to know you just a little bit more and kind of understand your journey to where you are now. Of course, we're going to get into all of that on this show. But before we get into that, of course, we have the Black Girl Magic Moment. We do this every episode. We got to recognize Black women and Black greatness. And on this episode, we're going to talk about Miss Sanaa Lathan. Now, first of all, we've got to figure out what kind of skincare routine and things like that she does because, she's 50 plus years old,
Whew.
but you would never think it looking at her. She still looks like she's in her 30s. But I
Like
digress.
magic on her skin. Like, yeah, I need to know.
Well, she is the daughter of actress Eleanor McCoy and film director Stan Lathan. For those that don't know Stan Lathan, he was, worked on Sanford and Son and also Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam.
Oh wow.
So she was born in North Carolina, New York City. She was a latchkey kid. For those that know what that is, basically her parents weren't around much. She just let herself in, whatever. Okay, so she kind of started out. She grew up in New York, and then eventually would move out to L.A. She actually graduated from Beverly Hills High School, attended University of California, and got a master's degree in drama from Yale. She actually started out in early TV roles in the House, Family Matters. I remember her guest appearance on there, NYPD Blue, and Moesha. She actually was on all those shows back in the day, which
Oh,
threw me off a little bit. She actually also an interesting bit about her. She played Wesley Snipes' mother in the Blade movies, which they look the same age in that movie. Which I know people think that's kind of strange. I'm like, yeah, they literally, yeah, but they're
yeah,
vampires,
I'm
so of
gonna
course
have to
they're
go
not
back and rewatch that.
gonna age.
I watched Blade, and I don't even remember that part.
Yeah, yeah. I had to look back. I was like, wow, okay, yeah, she really was in this movie. And she actually was Martin's wife in the Life movies, which, a lot of people
Do
forget that
remember
she was in
that?
that movie. Of course she was in The Best Man, she was in The Wood, Brown Sugar, and of
Yes,
course Love and Basketball. Some of the
yes.
best movies that I can
Hey,
remember, just turn them on and you can't turn away. So I've got to, show love for those movies. And of course, she was also in Disappearing Acts. For those that remember that HBO movie, where her and again Wesley Snipes were together, but they were actually boyfriend and girlfriend in that movie. So kind of goes from the mom son to uh, boyfriend girlfriend, which is an interesting dynamic to switch to. You really
very.
don't see actors switching to that dynamic with each other. But of course, she played a very rough character, I would say, in Tyler Perry's The Family That Prays.
Ooh,
Boy, oh boy.
that was some that was some hella acting. I really, really, really enjoyed that movie and watching her play that role. Like I did. I did. I
Yeah,
really she
she
was
made.
like I never hated and didn't like somebody so much in my life.
Yeah, she definitely brought some emotions out for sure.
Yes. Like, damn, I feel sorry
Wow.
for Chris.
Yeah, I was over there like shaking my head, and I think I was shaking my head at. I can't remember what I was shaking my head at more. Was it the wig that Tyler Perry was making, or just
Not the
the wig that Tyler Perry had on, or
wig.
just how she was acting in that movie? Because that wig was like that made him look like Jethro from back in Bessemer, Alabama, or somewhere. I was like, Lord have mercy, what has he got on his head? But I guess that's what he's known for now these days.
Yeah.
But of of course, she's also added to her plate director. She directed a movie called On the Come Up that was presented at the Toronto Film Festival in 2022. And she's also produced a couple things that she's been in, mainly Nappily Ever After. And she's the executive producer for the Perfect Guy movie that had her, Morris Chestnut, and Michael Ealy in it. So she's
I
done.
have yet to watch that. So I haven't. I've been seeing it, but I haven't watched it yet. So I need to watch that. What
Well,
is
I
that?
heard it's interesting.
What platform that's streaming on? That's
I do not know, but I'm gonna have to look that up
I'm gonna
too
look
because
it
I
up.
don't remember it.
I know I've been seeing it, but I have not checked it out. So, and I said I did want to watch it because Michael Ealy is also a dope actor. So I know with both of them together, it's probably gonna be dope.
Well, I will say this: Michael Ealy plays a good bad guy. I will definitely say he. I didn't know he would. I didn't
In
know. Didn't know he
every
had it in him.
film, he's the bad guy, just about like, and he's crazy. So, and it fits him, and it's like he's the light skinned guy that just looks like he's crazy in real life. Like it fits. I don't know if you watch Power. He's in Power, and I'm just like, yo, he can't get out of this particular role. I don't know what that means.
Well, I will say this: I can't say he was a bad guy in the what was the movie he had? But God, he was playing Taraji P Henson's boyfriend in that movie. God, what was that movie? Kevin Hart and all of them were in that movie. Why can I not remember the name of that movie right now? It's based off the Steve Harvey book.
um,
Why can I not
is
remember
it
that?
something 90 days or 30
Oh,
days?
Think Like a Man. Think Like a Man.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah, that movie. Okay, I was like
Yeah.
thinking hard. Like, wait, I'm trying to
He-
think of Steve Harvey's books. Like, yeah, think man.
Well, I never thought Steve Harvey would make it on this podcast, but yet he did. But I'll say that it just she getting back to Sanaa Lathan. Sanaa Lathan, I don't think ever got her just due. She never really has won like one of the big time awards. She's
Mhm.
won a BET award. She's won the NAACP award, but she's never like been up there and promoted as one of the best actresses out there of her time. And I felt like this was the
I
episode to actually give her her respect, her just due. I
yes,
mean, I still remember. My favorite character, one of my favorite characters of hers, got to be Monica Wright. Love basketball. I mean,
loving basketball. Yes,
mhm.
like
I'll
that's
play you for your
all.
hearts. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one for Monica and Brown Sugar as well. Like both of those
Hmm.
will always be my all time favorites. Um, that I love. Like who didn't want to be Monica? Like you got
Hmm.
Quincy for crying out loud. Like we all was like when that scene when they got the Maxwell playing in the background. Like oh my
Uh huh.
god, like we all wanted her to win. Like that.
Hmm.
I'm a girl's girl. We wanted her to win, and that was a dope movie. So yeah,
Yeah. And the funny
she's
part is she.
highlighted to me because um what I didn't like her in the Best Man, the last Best Man movie, like I really felt like I didn't like that part, like her role in playing that, because I really wanted them to work it out and stuff,
Hmm.
but I didn't quite like that role. But I love her acting. She's highly underrated.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, she was interesting in that one, and they
Yeah,
both had to take their blame for that for some of that. But because he messed up a lot too in
he
that, and I'm like
did.
he messed up from the jump though, from the
Okay,
first movie.
he
But
did. He did. But
yeah,
he's
she
paying
can't
for
mess around telling she
He's been
moving
paying
out
for
off the
it
top.
from part one all the way to the end. He's been just paying for this god awful mistake. But of course, he
Mm-hmm.
had to go write a book, so everybody keeps reliving it. But it's like, are we gonna get
Mm-hmm.
past it because you stayed with him? You know?
Yeah. I meant to tell you the funny part about loving basketball. She couldn't even dribble when she actually started that movie, or actually went out for that part.
Uh
So
huh.
she actually got a basketball coach, started working, learning how to dribble, and all those
So
different
she had
things
to take
for that
lessons.
role.
Oh wow.
Yes. So yeah, she actually was talking about that on she was on Jamel Hill's Unbothered one time, and I listened to that podcast, and yeah, she was on there and she was explaining how she did not know how to dribble or any of that stuff before she started that movie. Yeah.
I Look, I would have been in the same boat. I'd have been like, and I got a double or something, or body double when it comes to that, or teach me like 1 and 2.
Hmm. Yeah, I got to give her props for that. Sanaa Lathan, the Black Girl Magic moment for this
Yeah.
episode. But we got to talk about you. You Black Girl Magic too now. We got to talk about you. So
Oh,
we're going to kind of
thank you.
switch it over now. Okay, so we're going to talk about you and kind of get to know you. We're going to do that for a few moments and then we're going to take a commercial break. But
Okay.
um, for those that don't know, where did you grow up?
Ooh, I actually I grew up in North Carolina, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm originally from Mississippi. So I was always back and forth. But I always thought I was a North Carolina native until I learned that I was from Mississippi and born in Mississippi because I thought I was born in North Carolina. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I was majority of my time was spent in North Carolina, but I was always back and forth.
Got you, got you. So back and forth. Okay, so you know somebody I know as well. Bobby. I know
Bobby.
Gilkey.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wayne.
we went to college together at UT Martin. So yeah, so I was like, there's got to be Mississippi or Memphis somewhere in this. I
Yes,
know it.
that's my guy. Yeah. His sister is actually, I call my sister my best friend. So yeah, we're all like real close.
Okay, all right. So I gotta ask, what was it like kind of growing up between North Carolina and Mississippi? Now, every time I say Mississippi, I gotta throw in either the silk or I gotta talk about it. Like how they talk about on Life, the state of Mississippi. They say it like that on there. But yeah. So how was it kind of growing up between Mississippi and North Carolina?
Oh wow. So that's a lot to unpack between the two because you got to understand what it was like. You got to know that for one, when I was living in North Carolina, um, I was living as an only kid. Like it was just me and well, I was the only girl. It was me and my two oldest brothers. And so I was living the life, right? And then I had to end up finding out at 9 that, I had biological parents that were from Mississippi. So I had found out, I had a father um, and stuff. And then all the cousins or the cousins that I was going to see back and forth in Mississippi with my mom and my dad, I had to end up finding out that these were actually my siblings.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we all thought we were cousins, except for my oldest brother who knew about me. Because I guess my father, he was always with my biological dad. So he always talked about me to them. And so I never knew anything about them per se. But my oldest brother and my middle brother, they were together and they knew about me, but I didn't know about them. So growing up was kind of crazy because once I learned all of this stuff and going from transitioning from cousin to brothers is like, wow, like I still ain't got no sisters anywhere because I just knew I was gonna find a girl somewhere out of this moment. But no, just me. But um it was interesting. I had, I had a really good life, you know what I'm saying, when I was in North Carolina, because again, being the only kid, my mom always pushed me to do a lot. I loved reading mystery books. I love solving stuff. So my brain always kept going. So she just always kept me busy with little ghostwriter books and mystery books and things. And so those were the things that interested me as a kid in writing. So,
Mhm.
um, and then when I would move to Mississippi, I found that I was more so like following in the ways of my brothers. Like I was trying to get into sports because I was like, I wasn't really athletic at the time. I was green to that because I
Mhm.
didn't have to do any of that. And my brothers, like all these kids are playing football and basketball. And I'm like, I ain't doing nothing. so I started playing with them, of course. And so then I just started wanting to do things on my own and find my way. So
Okay. Okay. And we have someone in the comments. The This woman works inbox said, no wonder you're always asking questions.
I'm gonna get him for that. Yes, because he gets that's like my best friend and also my
Mhm.
artist. So that's Suge. But I'm very analytical, hence I'm an analyst. But I ask a bunch of questions. I'm always trying to figure out something. I mean, I'm still the SVU girl. I'm watching all of the, the detective shows, everything. So I get on his nerve doing that, but that's in me. See, now
Mhm.
there's an explanation as to why I ask questions. Blame my mom. My mom started it.
All right. So, you talked about, reading and, being very intuitive as well
Mhm.
growing up. So, what was something that, or an occupation or just something you saw that you were like, okay, cool. When you were growing up, I want to be that when I get older.
Ooh, what I wanted to be when I got that changed so much. I went from trying to think what was one of the first things I wanted to be. Um, Actually, I do remember. So being in school, um, my dad worked as a janitor in my school, and my dad was
Hmm.
my best friend. Right, that was my ride or die person. So because I saw like even though he was a janitor, the kids respected my dad. It wasn't ever anything, negative. Um, the teachers loved him. He was always a kind person and he was funny.
Hmm.
And he got to interact. So I think one of the first things at first, I was just like, well, how cool is that? I could just, I could do something like work with my dad. Or I just had that thought because I was like, I want to interact with people and I was close to him. So I was like, okay, I want to be a janitor. And then I think when I said that to my mom, she looked at me crazy. But I was like, and then I was like, okay, um I knew what I couldn't do. My mom was worked in the nurse field and helping people. I'm a crybaby, so I knew I couldn't do that. I like every time I saw an old person and I go to her job, I just cry because I'd be like, "Oh, I want to help them so much." Like she's like, "No, you're not gonna be able to do this." So I was like, "No, I'm a crybaby." Um, but I think one of the things I ended up doing, I started out was I wanted to be a lawyer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I
I
debate
can see that.
and I was always arguing with people and trying to get a point across. And I think when one of my brothers threw it out there, my older brother was just like, "You should be a lawyer," and I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I could do this."
Oh my
So yeah.
goodness. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you didn't quite end up being a lawyer, but you did find something else that you're passionate about, and you kind of, I would say, not necessarily debate, but you kind of get your point across in, and that's poetry and things like that.
Yes.
We're gonna kind of get into that, but first, we're gonna take a quick commercial break on This Woman Works.
Okay.
EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash are two of the best beard grooming products for men worldwide. They help promote growth, keep your beard moisturized and soft, and enhance your overall upkeep of your facial hair. And with the new promo code MPAFC10, you can get 10% off all these products. Just go to www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. Again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/EBO Beard Butter. And again, the promo code MPAFC10. Again, MPAFC10, where you can get 10% off any products except for beard boxes. So treat your beard better today by going to get this the EBO Beard Butter and EBO Beard Wash.
All right, and we are back. And of course, I know the big question everyone's wondering, why do I have a beard butter commercial? on This Woman Works. Well, I explained this on the last episode. Now, like, I enjoy explaining it. It's fun to me. So here we go. All right, fellas. We all know that. I know there's fellas watching. So we all know that we aren't necessarily the best at taking care of ourselves all the time. We kind of, a lot of times, if we got family or something like that, we're trying to put them ahead of what we really need. So, who is the best person to actually get something and tell us, no, you need something? That would be the women in our lives. So that's why that commercial
Listen
is
to him.
here. Yep. That's why this commercial is here on This Woman Works. So that is the explanation. But let's get back to the episode. Of course, you definitely are very, very creative, and the poetry and spoken word flows out of you. It just flows. So I have to wonder and ask, when did you kind of first get introduced or interested in poetry and spoken word?
Actually, ever since I was little, I used to love rhyming, and I used to love nursery rhymes. I used to write little literature stories they would have us do like in second grade. I won a first place award for a story that I had written about a cat. And it was a true story. I did find the cat and tried to take it home, and my mom wouldn't let me keep it. But I wrote this story about the kitten, and so I won first place. And then I just always love like word placements. I love alliterations, and I used to always just wanted to challenge myself. And when I first started, I just thought like, yo, writing, and I was actually good at it. Or at least I thought I was anyway. And so I just kept going with it. And I don't think until I started watching Def Poetry Jam, it was hosted by Most Def. That
Mhm.
was really when I was like, okay, wanted to become a performance poet. And I just would see everyone on stage performing, and I was just so fascinated by it. And I was like, yo, to own a room or a crowd for something that you like to do. And I used to always wonder, can I do that? Would I be able to do that someday? And so I was just like, I'm gonna test this out. And I started in North Carolina at the Blue Flame Cafe, and of
Mhm.
course, nerves. I was very nervous. I wouldn't even get up during that time. But the guy that would host would always get the crowd to interact and do a line. So, and spit a line just to try to get the nerves out the way. And I would freeze up every time because I just was so nervous. And this is coming from a person that even though I'm on stage or I would get on stage, I actually had to take public speaking over twice in college because of my nerves. That's just how bad I was.
Oh
Like I
man.
ended up passing finally with a B, but yeah, I didn't do so well the first time around.
Oh goodness. Now I will ask as well for those that aren't aware. Your stage name is Epiphany.
Yes.
So of course I have to ask, how did that name come about?
Funny you should ask. So I was go I've had several poetry names in my lifetime. Trust me, I've had several. And the last one I had, it was the same name as a strip club in Memphis where we used to live. And like I didn't want it known as a strip club name. It was Pure Passion. And I was like, I didn't like it. I was like, too
I've,
close
I've
to,
heard I've heard that name before, but go
you know,
ahead.
yeah. I didn't want to keep being known as a strip club name. So I was like, okay, am I gonna go by my handle? I would do talk radio, and I wanted a different identity outside of my podcast name. I was Miss Cold Hearted Red, and my nickname is Red, so I didn't want that. So I was like, I need something different. So I accompanied my mentor. Shout out to Urban Thoughts. At the time, we were coming into Nashville. Actually, I was living still in Memphis, and we were coming to a show here in Nashville. And on the way here, I was like, I told him I wasn't happy with my name. And I was like, I need something else. And he was like, let's figure it out on our way there. We got 3.5 hours. Let's figure it out. So I just started Googling stuff. And then I was like, you know what? Um, I was like, I just had an epiphany. So he was like, yo. And I was like, yo, epiphany. And so I was like, but I didn't want it to be spelled the way that it originally is. I wanted to be different. I wanted to set myself apart. So in Greek terms, epiphany also means striking appearance.
Mhm.
So with me, I'm an advocate for psoriasis because I do have a skin condition with psoriasis. So I'm an advocate for that. And for autoimmune disorders. So that was something I felt like stuck out to me, was striking appearance. Because it was like one day I can be all clear, the next day I could be looking like a leopard. It just depends on what's going on with my skin and my and my immune system. So that resonated with me, the striking appearance part. So, and I was like, and people can do with that as they will, but that was the true meaning behind me, and it stuck. And I was like, epiphany ever since then.
Awesome, awesome. So, dang, some of the best ideas come when you least, I guess, you least think about it, or you're trying to overthink it. It never comes when you just like, and
Yeah.
then something happens, and there you go. But I have to ask as well. Of course, you did speak about the place in North Carolina where you went to perform. I believe your first performance. How was that first performance, and how did it go?
Now, no, well, Blue Flame was an open mic cafe.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, I would go, but I never really would just perform for real, because again, my nerves were bad. But I
Hmm.
love to be in the atmosphere. Now, when I moved to Mississippi in town South Haven, we would go. That's like 5 minutes right into Memphis. So
Hmm.
there was this spot, Martinette's Cafe. They had an open mic, so people would go there, and I would actually perform there. And I think my first time performing there, I was using my phone. I was using, like, there's actually a video that pops up in my memories every now and then where I had a whole sheet of paper, like reading in my hand, and I was like, "Oh God, that's an embarrassing moment." But I'm like, that's how I started. I started with my notebook. I started, then somebody was like, "Why don't you just put this in your phone?" And I was like, "Cause I like writing." But I went from the notebook to my phone, and then I was like, the more I started seeing people on these shows and studying, I was like, yo, I can get the crowd more if I start memorizing. And then
Hmm.
that's what I started doing, because for me, it wasn't enough for me to just be heard. I wanted to really be felt and connect with the audience. So mine Eds was just like my filler to help me to gauge the audience with it. My very first actual performance, however, in front of a crowd, was when I debuted Which Would You Choose? And that was at Height Lounge in Memphis. Shout out to Cam Osborne for giving me that opportunity. And that was a bold piece to do, my first stage presence. I was nervous as all get out, but once I got on that stage and Epiphany clicked, it went from there, and it actually became one of my like best known pieces on what I was getting booked for and known for, was doing that piece.
Okay. All right. All right. So, and of course, I got to shout out Memphis. I believe someone else I went to college with, you probably know too. That would be Karen Malone.
Righteous Soul, yes. Shout out to Righteous
Yeah.
Soul, girl.
Yep. Yep. They was yeah. I mean, I still remember her in college. Definitely with intramural basketball. Definitely doing her thing
Oh,
out there.
still plays ball. She's dope with it. I love watching Karen. She has an amazing spirit about her. So yeah, shout out to Karen. We've done
And
plenty
who?
of shows and things together. So yeah.
Yeah. Who would know? I would mention two UT Martin alums on this show. Me being a UT Martin alum as well. Who knew? But of course, you didn't just necessarily stay with just doing poetry and spoken word, but you kind of expanded to do some other things. So what kind of what other things did you expand to do, and then also what kind of I guess clicked in you to expand to do other things outside of just poetry and spoken word?
I've always, my mind constantly goes. And I've always been one of those people that believed in innovations. I've always believed in I want to be different, set myself apart from anybody else. Like I'm not meant to be an open mic poet. I was always meant to um, be on the stage and bring something different. So, but I like to be behind the scenes. Like what people don't know is that spoken word has never been my first love. I'm just great at it. Performing, great at it. My first love has been I've always wanted to be a director. I've always looked up to Tyler Perry and Oprah. So I still have those goals to this day. I'm not gonna stop till I'm sitting at a table with these guys. And so I always like to produce. So I started getting into doing plays or my mini plays, which I've coined that term. So if anybody starts using it, they gotta pay me. But I created many plays around poetry called Playatries. And so I wanted to do something, like I said, different and have a feel to it. Because most times you'll see all the open mics. The world is saturated with open mics. So I wanted to be like, how can I, if I'm a viewer, I kept thinking like, I don't want to keep seeing this. I want to see some variety with poetry, right? So
Mhm.
I started developing the Playatries, and I was like, people get a different sense and a feel for how poetry can be used, and then have a love for it and see it evolve. So that's the culture I wanted to bring to poetry. So I'm in my lane and I'm the only one in it right now. And I love that about myself. Like I just keep thinking of different things off the top to bring and infuse poetry with it.
Gotcha. Okay. So, of course, we got into how you got into poetry and, how you got more creative into the different things, the different avenues that you wanted to go into. But of course, we've got to also mention some advice for those that are coming behind you. But we're going to do that. But first, we're going to take one more commercial break on This Woman Works.
A shift. A shift is something that happens and changes the dynamics. And that's what happened when Garrett Logistics was born. After 10 years as a sales pro in the logistics world of sporting goods, John Garrett decided to pivot to the world of freight and start a brokerage. So you're saying to yourself, why trust Garrett Logistics? Well, Garrett Logistics helps shippers improve overall workflow, along with increased on-time pickup and delivery percentages. Last-minute loads, multi-drop pickups, and more are part of the services with Garrett Logistics. They're available Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., all times Central Standard Time. So give them a ring at 615-400-8484. That's 615-400-8484, or you can email them at john@garrettlogistics.co or visit their website at garrettlogistics.co. Garrett Logistics, where the motto is, it's not just freight to us, it's your business.
All right, and we are back on This Woman Works. And like every episode, I do the advice part of the show. Now, there may be someone that is watching this that may have interest in doing the things that you do. So I kind of have to dive into that portion of it to kind of, help the next generation or, someone in the same generation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to ask, what was one of the toughest times you had creating, and how did you overcome
Woo, I think I still run into those tough moments. Um, I would say the toughest thing about creating that I run into is the blind. It's kind of like when you don't know. what's going to come of it, right?
Mhm.
You do so much behind the scenes to prepare for it. When I'm doing shows, you do so much behind the scenes, and you really don't know if if the people are going to show up and support you. You don't know, what your sales are going to look like. It's the most nerve-wracking thing ever when you're blind to all of these stats. And especially like for me, I have a website, epiphanesimagination.com. So a lot of things are going to be, my events are going to be linked to that. So it's nerve-wracking because you want to make sure that you're prepared for, your event. But I would tell those that are trying to put on events, it can be discouraging, but long as you have a strong support system, and even that, be your own support system, because there's a lot of times I can get in my head and I'm like, I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to, don't do this, don't do that, but I keep coming back to it, because if it's a passion, you're going to keep doing it. You're not going to be fulfilled unless you fulfill that passion of yours. So I'll say stick with it, keep going, and it's okay to start over. I have to learn that about I'm still learning that. My friends are still supporting me and pushing me through that moment. And I'll share with them, I'm human like the next person. I had a show that I was trying to get off this year. And because I've came a long way from just not, I came a long way from just being someone that you're just seeing on the stage to now it's like, I want to produce these shows. I want to give other artists an opportunity to push their craft. So I'm pushing them outside of their comfort zones with these plays. Like a lot of them don't know that they can act and be a poet at the same time. And it's like, yo, no, you can do these things. Let me push you past your comfort zone. And because they're also helping me as well. I love writing. So if they can't write, I'm always on the spot thinking like, yo, like this, let's do that. Um, Couple of my friends that are playwrights, they often ask, a lot of people do storyboards.
Mhm.
I'm probably one of the anomalies. I see the vision beforehand and I know it. And I can find the area. I don't write it out. I do it while I'm on the scene, and I can just think of it and have it flow while I'm there. Like I'm just in the moment of it. That's how much I'm passionate about it and I love it. I have the eye for it once I'm there, and I can just visualize it and make it work. So I'll tell anybody coming up behind me, like, just stick to it, you know, keep doing what you love. Don't let anybody discourage you. I've had people try to discourage me in my lane and told me I couldn't do it, or why am I doing this and stuff. And I started questioning myself. And once you start questioning yourself, it's all bad. Don't ever question yourself. Keep with it. Because if it's a passion of yours, you're going to find your people that's going to be also passionate and love what it is that you're doing and bringing to the culture. So don't stop being a creative and innovate something different. Like, and I tell people sometimes there is nothing new under the sun. We just find other ways to cultivate it in a way that it is different. And that's okay. So I appreciate all the different forms of poetry, and I try to create. I'm just trying to keep doing that, and
Yeah.
the main thing for me is creating those avenues to where, one, I'm an artist that, if you're gonna book me, I like being booked, getting paid. So I want my people to feel the same way. Like I'm booking these shows, pay my artists. That's my main thing. It's like I'm never gonna do anything and ask them to be a part of an actual show, and it's like, yo, and not want to give them something, for that. So that's a big thing in the arts as well, and finding people that are serious about their craft and wanting to do
Mhm.
things. I ran into a bunch of hiccups trying to pull off this show, but trust me, it will be coming out. I want them to know, like, I had to set back, regroup on some things, but it's definitely going to come out. So,
Mhm.
and I just want people to know that how it was 5 years ago, because I went from having sold out shows to now it's just like, yo, who's gonna show up? Like, who's
Uh,
here? Because the scene has changed. The scene
mhm.
has changed, and you got to work 10 times harder to like get your name out there. So I just been trying to figure out what's the algorithm to get the people engaged again and excited about poetry, especially here in Nashville. Like, we don't have a really big um poetry aesthetic here. You have tons of open mics, but when it comes to bringing something different, I'm trying to show people that you can love poetry and have something different, because the only thing people think that Nashville has to offer is just those. And I want to bring something different here and show, like, no, I do plays, I do game shows centered around poetry. I do a bunch of stuff that I want to bring out. Case in point, I had Black Chick Monologue. I did Menace to Society. And I think I did Tales from the Other Side. I think you actually
Mhm.
came to that one, to my
Right.
show. That, to have people show up and to show the different relationships, to show the different ideals that come from that and perspectives, people really enjoy. So I enjoy people, enjoying my work. So it's just all about staying different and keeping your mind going.
Gotcha. Now you did have some applause in the This Woman Works inbox from I Am Her Lady Flame.
Aw, thank you, Flame.
And then also you had something you said definitely was spoken in the This Woman Works inbox as well.
And pay your artist. Yes. So definitely, we talk about that all the time. It's like, we're gonna do something. Folks need to pay their artists, and I that's one thing I love doing, is trying to make sure that my artist is getting paid as well as
Got you.
myself. So yeah.
Mhm. Now, you did mention a lot there in terms of tough times and how you overcame, and some advice as well. But what would you say is one, just if someone's looking just to get started, what is one particular bit of advice that you would give towards them?
That's looking to get started in report.
Hmm.
Steadfast, write the vision, make it plain, keep going. No matter what, keep going. Don't stop. Um, I try to mentor, some of the younger generation, and speaking of which, like, I Am Her Lady Flame. I love her to death. Like, she's upcoming. She's a dope, talented poet. We've done some ventures and shows and stuff together. I love the fact that how she's trying to create her brand and how she's upcoming. And I always will have conversations, and like, I would just tell her, keep going it, keep doing it, because I love her ideas, and she wants to be so different. And I think we're working on several things, and sometimes, like we said, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just the way and how you manage it and make it different. um she'll be like, well, I didn't want it to sound too much like this or sound too much like what you guys got going. And I'm like, girl, for one, we don't think like that. Nobody cares. Like, as long as it's going to be a dope show, I'm going to be in the building. It doesn't matter. Like, keep going. And, people can say they're the first to do certain things, but you're really not, because somebody actually has came before you and did something similar. It's just in how you set it up and set your brand apart from somebody else's. So
Hmm.
I tell people all the time, I like people that are creative. I like seeing something different. If it's something different I've never seen or witnessed or I'm curious about, I'm going to show up, I'm going to support. So I just tell them, my only thing is just don't stop, keep going with it, don't give up.
Okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. You started talking about the ideas that I Am Her Lady Flame had, and some things cooking up. The first thing I thought about is Eric B and Rakim, thinking of a master plan. That's what I started thinking
Always.
about.
always thinking. When I tell you, I am nothing short of ideas. Speaking of which, my gosh, like I said, we're best friends, so I pretty much will run every idea I have by him, right? And I know I overwhelm him with a lot because because every time I'm going to implement an idea, I find a way to throw him in the idea. And he's always like, "How did I get in this?" And I'd be like, "Cuz, what else are you doing?" I'm like, and I'm like, because I manage him, right? So I make his schedule. So it's like, I know you got time. So he's like, wait, what? So I know I drive him crazy with that. But at the same time, I do certain things for a reason too, because the more things that I can create and get the people that a bunch of soldier boys out here, yeah, the more that I can get people involved in the different things that I'm creating, the more I'm also adding it to their EPKs, so it's like the artist's resume. So the more that they're getting exposed to, whether they want to do it or not,
Mhm.
you know, I'm I'm liking to see, because a lot of things they don't even know they could do. You know what I'm saying? I got
Mhm.
him with the first show. He was very adamant, like he didn't want to do it at first, and then he started doing it. So, and I don't think he understands how dope he actually, was in doing it, and how it's going to be once we bring it to the big screen. So I just try to push artists outside of just being one note. You know what I'm saying? I want them to see
Mhm.
something that I see in them. So I'll push him, I'll push her, I push other artists that I work with. So it's just about creating different paths and then showing people like a different way that they didn't even see themselves,
Got you.
and hope that
Okay.
they appreciate it and don't think that he'll say I'm just being bossy, but
Well,
I,
he actually said she ain't never lied. So.
yeah. I see greatness in people, and I push their pins. We
Mhm.
challenge each other. If you're not challenging each other, then what good are you?
Right.
We try to push each other, and that's the best thing about it. Like, if I suck at something, I tell him, let me know I suck. Sometimes I don't want to hear it, because he will tell you, and I don't want to hear it if it's something he doesn't like. So, but I say having a good foundation of people that you respect, you trust, because I've gotten feedback from people sometimes, and I often will question like the integrity of it, because you never know what people think, of you.
Mhm.
And it's hard to accept criticisms from people that you feel like only come around to give you a criticism. They're not there during the struggle, or when you're having your freak out moments and things of
Mhm.
that nature, or how you're stressed out you are. It's like they only want to add the criticism. And it's like, okay, so what could I do better? Or what would you do better? Or why
Right.
you're not doing it? You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you just have to be mindful. And I'll tell anybody coming up too, be mindful of the people you bring in your space when you're creating these ideas. You know,
Mhm.
it's one thing to let somebody strike your vision down, but it's another thing if you have someone you admire and respect, to where they give you a different perspective on how to approach what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And still be supportive at the same time.
Got you. Okay. All right. So we kind of went through you growing up, how you, kind of dove into poetry, spoken word, and everything there, and a little bit of advice. But we're gonna have fun to end the show. It's gonna be a
Okay.
speed round. We got 10 questions, completely
Okay.
random. We flying through
Woo.
them. And are you ready?
Mm. I'll try. Let's see.
All right. Your favorite current song?
Oh, favorite current song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, $1 Million Baby.
Oh yeah, I think everybody loves that
That's
song.
my song. That's my vibe. Yes.
All right. You have a biopic made about you. Who plays you in your biopic?
If he's on here, he's probably gonna type her name. But everybody keeps saying I look like Dominique Fishback. So if I had one, it would probably be her.
Okay, I can see that. Okay, what's your favorite movie?
My favorite, Love Jones. hands
Okay.
down.
All right. Favorite genre of music?
Genre R&B and blues, actually.
Okay.
A
I
Mississippi
would
girl, blues.
I would say this. Give me neo soul all day, every day. But
Neo soul is a vibe, but yeah, I'm still a good blues and some R&B, and I'm good.
all right. Okay. All right. Favorite actress?
Favorite actress? Oh man, Neil Long.
Okay, that's the first. I haven't got Neil Long. That's the first
Neil
one.
Long is like one of my favorites. Like I've loved her since Love Jones, and I just been stuck on her. She hasn't done like a whole bunch. I'll say between her and Taraji, because I do love Taraji. I absolutely love
Mhm.
Taraji. So it's between those two. They're like my ultimate favorites. They can do no wrong to me.
Gotcha. That's the first time I've heard both names mentioned. Because the biggest name I've gotten mentioned, Angela Bassett. That is the biggest name I've gotten mentioned the entire time.
And I feel like because they're so prominently known, and so these ladies, though, I think like Angela embodies grace and she plays her roles effortlessly. But when these ladies, I feel like I resonate with because they're to me more real to
Hmm.
how I was brought up and things that I like and how they portray the roles. So I think I relate more with these ladies and their roles that they have. So it makes me have a more appreciation for them.
Okay.
But
All
that's not
right.
to take away from any of the other, dope actresses.
Got you. Best poetry you've ever witnessed.
Best poetry I've ever witnessed
Hmm.
outside of
I know.
mine.
I know. I know. Yeah. Outside. Well, outside of yours, yes.
Um, ooh, I would have to say Def Poetry Jam set the tone. The many poets that hit those stages, I think, set the tone. But I would say here lately that I had to witness in person. I got to see both of these gentlemen in person. I got to meet and see Jay Ivy and Brandon Leaks, and both are phenomenal. Two different sides of the spectrum with their poetry. I admire them both. Um, but I would say one that stuck out that I resonated with the most would definitely be Brandon Leak. He came to Nashville and did a one man poetic play, and that's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm still working on to this day once I get over my nerves. But and I had a conversation with him about it, and this man is always like a touch away. He's so accessible. He's like a really down to earth and really cool gentleman, and um I aspire to one day to be as dope and entertaining as he is. So he, to me, hands down, gave one of the best poetic plays and one man show I'd ever seen.
Okay. All right. Best childhood memory.
Best childhood memory. I would have to say playing with my brothers in North Carolina. It's a crazy memory, but it is one
Hmm.
of my best fun moments. It wasn't fun during that time because I was like 5 years old. But my brothers, I would always watch them play. We lived in a trailer park, so they would be at the basketball court, and him and their friends would always pick with me, and every I would just love watching them play ball. But they would always lift me up, and everybody would just start tossing me in the air. So I often like I'm the basketball, right? They just him and the friends, it'd be like eight of them, and I'm just going from person to person to person.
Oh
And I'm like, of
goodness.
course, I'm scared then, but I'll say I'll say it's one reason why that's one of my favorite memories is just because one, like as a kid, you don't have to think about anything and you just have people loving on you. And these are the moments that I get to share with them. And they had a hand in my brothers had a hand in raising me. So I often look up to them. So, and we were all so close knit, but it's just the fun moments I would have with them. Even if I'm scared in those moments, my brothers always made me feel safe. Like I'm the only girl all the way around with boys. So me and I hang with guys, so I'm more comfortable with them. They often make me feel safe. So my memory as a kid would be just definitely hanging with my brothers.
Okay. All right. Worst movie you ever watched?
Oh God, the worst movie I've ever watched. Um,
I know there's got to be one that you just like, oh, why?
like why did I watch this?
Hmm.
Uh, it probably was that horrible that I can't really like remember off the top. Worst movie. Mm. And I know I probably have mentioned it and said it and probably made a Facebook post about it being the worst movie, but I can't think.
I know Soul Plane's got to be up there for somebody.
You said Soul Plane. I actually like Soul Plane. It was stupid. I
Oh,
liked it.
okay.
Yeah, I have a flair for stupid stuff, but a, a stupid movie or a horrible movie. Let me come back to that one because I can't
Okay.
remember. I'm trying to think seriously off top which one I think is just a horrible movie they should have never made.
Hmm. All right. Favorite thing about Memphis?
Okay, to do Memphis, you're gonna definitely have to add Mississippi because I'm a Mississippi chick.
Okay.
Um, so one of my favorite things about Memphis is the support. Most of everything that I typically would create, I would do it in Memphis first, and then I would bring it to Nashville. And I would say the support because I have a lot of supporters and friends that do back me. So I would say the best thing about Memphis for me would have to be the support.
Got you. Okay. And the best vacation spot?
Um, Oh, well, I got to give my best thing about Mississippi because I don't want my people to kill me because I am
Oh,
Mississippi.
okay.
So, my best thing about Mississippi, I would say, because I am a country girl, is just for that fact alone. It's in the country. You be wild and free. We do some of everything in the country. We have the best barbecues. You go to my aunt house, my aunt Faye, she turns up. I love her to death. We have the best times in family. So, um, and then what was your next question?
Best vacation spot?
Ooh, best vacation spot. Oh, Destin is my best vacation spot. I love Destin, Florida. That has become a staple point for me and my friends. Like, uh, we're sitting up here now trying to plan how we just gonna, just take a trip on the weekend just to go to Destin. That's my
Hmm.
getaway spot. I love the clear water. It's just amazing. They have this Crab Island, another space to, if you never heard of Crab Island, go there. It's like a carnival with boats. Has all kind of
Hmm.
food truck boats. So you got all kind of stuff. You got the ice cream man coming by on like an ice cream bicycle thing in the water that floats. It's like
Huh.
awesome. It's like and it's um the water is very shallow, so it's not like it doesn't come up, you know,
Hmm.
but you'll have fish probably, little tadpoles or I guess or say at your feet or something like that mess with you. But it's nice. It's
Hmm.
really beautiful in Destin. So that's like one of my favorite getaway spots. If I'm stressed and I just know I'm sick and tired and I got to get out of Nashville, I will, which I'm working on because my friends hate. I would just up and leave and don't say anything. Yeah, I got that bad, but I would just go escape to Destin. So that's my
Hmm.
favorite place.
Yeah, I've definitely been there. I would say a couple of mine's got to be Cancun or Toronto, something of that nature. I've been to
I
Toronto. I
haven't
went
been
there one
to
time.
Cancun. Now I did because I travel.
Hmm.
So, and those that know me know I will go somewhere in a heartbeat. So, I've been
Hmm.
to Jamaica, to Montego Bay. Hey, yo, that was amazing, by the way.
Hmm.
Then I've been to the Cayman Islands, and then
Hmm.
I've been to Punta Cana.
Hmm.
No, Cabos. It was Los Cabos. I've been
Hmm.
there. And all three actually are amazing. I love going out of the country. So I'll actually be going to Bermuda this time in August. So I'm excited
Mhm.
to go there and to see what that experience is going to be like and hit them with some poetry. So
Okay.
I am excited about that.
Now, I would say this: if you go to Canada, go to Toronto, go during the summertime because we went to the Little Italy Festival. That had
Mhm.
to be 20 blocks of partying,
I
crowded
want to go because
drinking.
I plan on going to Carnival in
That's in
Canada.
August, yeah. And
Yes, I
yeah,
want to
I've
put on the
heard.
outfits. I want to get out there and dance with in the parade and Carnival. So I am
Mhm.
planning that. I don't care if I have to go by myself. I am going to go and hit up Carnival in Toronto. I'm like, I want to go to Canada so bad.
I've heard. Man, summers in Canada are interesting. Got to see. Let's see. I mean, the happy hours. They're going like 12, 1 o'clock. The happy hours were. I was like,
Ooh,
wow.
12 or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
Now, let me tell you,
12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
if they know me, they know a girl loves a drink. So the fact
Mhm.
that
It was food on. It was food on there too. Not just drinks. It was food too.
listen, I'm definitely gonna eat, but the fact that you keep the drinks going, I'm there. And you
Yeah.
tell look, I tell people all the time it's happy hours somewhere. My friends be like, yo, it's the middle of the day. You're drinking. Yeah, it's like it's happy hour somewhere. Come on now. I like a good
Oh,
turn up.
you had a couple nominations for worst movies, by the way. This
Oh,
that one was a
Sausage Party.
nomination,
I didn't watch that. I never seen it.
and this was another one.
Flice. I've never seen that either. I gotta go. And now I don't think I want. Now I don't want to watch it because they don't recommend it. Because if it's horrible, then I don't want to watch it. But I don't. I've never. I haven't seen those. Um,
Maybe those are so bad you want to see them. I don't know. I don't know. You know those movies that are so bad you just can't turn away,
you just
and
can't
maybe those are those movies. I don't know, but you know
like.
we
I
have
see.
wrapped up the speed round, so
Okay.
we have wrapped that up, and we have reached the end of the show. Oh, we did have one more nomination, and I believe I'm gonna like this comment. Soul
So
Plane was on my list because of the
for the
plane
planes
scene, and I
there.
never knew what Kevin said.
I like Soul Plane. That was like a funny movie. Like I don't know. I guess it was cheesy, but I liked it.
Godfrey was hilarious in that movie. He messed around and
Yeah,
got happy he was gonna be the pilot, and he messed around, slipped, busted his head, and knocked out.
the lady, the comedian lady, I can't think of what her name was. She was the flight attendant, the thick chick. She was like, to me, she was hella funny. Like I don't know, I like to laugh. So the fact that they
Mhm.
were always just doing something, it was just so funny to me. So I actually liked it. Um
Okay, all right.
I
Hmm.
did. I did. I actually liked it. I can't
So
even.
we gonna let you off the hook for worst movie. We let you off the hook for that one. But we have reached the end of the speed round, the end of the show. I want to thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you for telling everyone your journey. Of course, you know the roses are in the background. It's because we're giving flowers to all the people that come on the show. Uh, but yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on. If you want to tell everyone where they can find you on social media and any other things that you have going on.
Okay, awesome. I'll say first, thank you for having me. This has been definitely a dope opportunity. I appreciate the love and the flowers. If for everyone tuning in, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Epiphany. If you see the name EPIFANY, I've been trying to get people to don't put the PH in it. That's you're not gonna find me. um, Epiphany 19 on Instagram and TikTok. Facebook is Epiphany across the board. Also, I have been nominated again. I was nominated for Spoken Word Artist of the Year for the SEA Awards. I didn't win that, of course, but I've been nominated again for the National Spoken Word Awards that are originally out of Chicago. So I'm up for category number 2, Best Female Spoken Word Artist. So letter J, Epiphany. So if you guys have not, please vote for me. I would love to bring that home, and I work my damnness, and I deserve it. Um, you can also find me again on my website at Epiphany's Imagination. Also, if you see outside of my name, just put www.epiphanesimagination.com. You can find me there, as well as you'll see a rundown of some of my events, as well as a bio of myself and some of the reviews from certain shows, that come up. Things that I got coming up now would be actually tomorrow. I would be performing for Frist Art Museum downtown. My
Nice.
time is 5:40 p.m. So you can catch me, and that's through for Po Boys and Poets. I will be performing 5:40 at Frist Art Museum. And on Saturday, I'm excited because me and Suge will be hosting at Clarksville's Power of Words at Good People Lounge in Clarksville, Tennessee. So we doors open at 7. You guys, we have so much fun at this open mic. So it's never the same show twice, and we have something definitely dope set up for the people. A surprise that's going on. They're gonna love it. We love to keep it entertaining. So we'll say if you're in the area, tune in, and don't forget to vote for me. You can find that on my page. The links to those are on my Facebook and also on my Instagram.
Well, I'll make sure when we're advertising everything and putting out everything that I kind of get that information out as well. So, yeah, I want to thank you for coming on again. Of course, those that don't know, I'm Mike Patton, the host of This Woman Works. Of course, you can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter, which, of course, I say the artist formerly known as Twitter to show honor to one of the greatest artists of all time. That would be Prince. At Mike Patton 82. You can find me there at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. Of course, you can find This Woman Works on YouTube, and you can find it on Spotify. Working on getting it everywhere else. It'll get there eventually. Hey, from my lips to God's ears. But it'll get there eventually. Hopefully. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of This Woman Works. We're out. Peace.